Everybody has got a favorite fragrance note. Maybe it's fresh citrus, maybe it's a stinky animalic oud, or maybe you're just like me and you love a creamy vanilla. But what's the best fragrance for each one of these notes? Well, today I'm going to be going through 12 of the most commonly used fragrance notes and finding one fragrance that absolutely kills it for that particular note. And by kills it, I mean smells absolutely amazing. So if you've ever thought, what's the ultimate vanilla fragrance, or what is the best smelling citrus fragrance, this video is for you. Let's go. One fragrance note that is becoming increasingly more popular and more seen than ever before in fragrances is pineapple. And I have no issue with that personally because 1, I love eating pineapples, 2, I love smelling pineapples, and 3, I want to smell like a freshly cut pineapple. So I have a lot of pineapple fragrances. One that is absolutely amazing though, but isn't actually the best in my collection is Nishani Hasavat. This is going to get the runners up slot, and it basically takes the Creed Aventus, you know, citrusy, leathery, just ultra masculine, kind of like that CEO style of fragrance, but then makes the pineapple even more noticeable within the scent. It's not quite something like Mind Game's Blockade, which goes like the mango-y tropical Aventus style route. It still does stay pretty close to the Aventus smell, but again, it kind of takes away some of the leather and basically just makes it very pineapple-y. So if you want to smell masculine, but still want to smell a little bit fruity, maybe you like the smell of pineapple, Nishani Hasavat would be a fantastic choice. It's just not my preferred option over the one I'm about to show you. My number one pick for you guys, if you're looking for a very pineapple heavy fragrance, would actually be from Ralph Lauren, and that is Polo 67. They have the EDT version, which came out in 2024, and then very recently, only a couple months ago, they just released Polo 67 EDP. When you look at the note breakdown between the EDT and the EDP Polo 67, you're really not going to notice much of a difference, except that kind of pineapple got moved as a top note in the EDT down to a heart or middle note in the EDP. But actually, in terms of smell, I would say there's a fairly significant difference. The EDP essentially becomes slightly more of like a going out, nighttime, maybe even winter or special occasion scent, whereas the EDT definitely sticks to kind of like the all year round, safe, fresh and clean style of fragrance. Like it's a bit more boring, honestly. The EDP, if you can afford it, I would say is 100% worthwhile. So I'm going to put the EDP on this hand, and then let's get the EDT on the other. Yes. Yeah, it's just lighter. There's just less going on in the EDT. Maybe if you're a younger guy and you want something just completely blind by safe, the EDT is better. But again, if you can afford it, you want something more rich, more dense, something with a bit more character to it, I love the EDP. It's a fantastic fragrance. One of my all-time favorite notes in fragrances is coconut. And coconut has a love-or-hate relationship with a lot of people because some people, for example, my younger brother, think that every coconut fragrance smells like an old woman's sunscreen lotion. I couldn't disagree more. And these fragrances are a big reason as to why I disagree. And those are the ones from City Rhythm, which is a niche fragrance house which basically takes cities around the world and then try and replicate the scent based on the vibe of that city. It's actually pretty cool. My favorite City Rhythm fragrance and my favorite coconut scent is City Rhythm 2654. A lot of people, when they think of coconut, they think of Jean Paul Gaultier Le Beau or Paradise Gardens. Those are fantastic, but if you have the budget, you want something more complex and niche smelling, this is a fantastic coconut scent. It's a very creamy vanilla, a whole ton of like creamy white florals in the mid, which make it very unisex. Some people might even find it too feminine. I personally think this one is perfectly unisex. And then you get coconut on the top, and you also get like a white rum. It's not like a replica jazz club dark boozy rum, nothing like that. Think of like a white, really sweet Caribbean rum. It's just a sexy, tropical, sugary scent. I honestly adore this. This might be my favorite summer fragrance ever, honestly. I toss it up, my all-time favorite summer scent, between this and Creed Virgin Island Water, which also has coconut, and it's also a beautiful coconut fragrance. It just doesn't have the performance that City Rhythm fragrances do. Another fantastic coconut scent is City Rhythm Miami. This is their best-selling fragrance. And it is quite similar to 2654. The main difference is this smells more masculine. The rum is definitely much more harsh and in your face. And, you know, in turn, this does perform better. It projects better, it lasts longer, but you get less creamy vanilla. Doesn't smell as well blended. Personally, I find the performance in 2654 is still more than good enough for me. So I'm going to take the smoother fragrance, the more classy fragrance in my opinion, over Miami. But if you're a single man and you're partying it up in Fiji, you want everyone to smell you, I can't think of a better fragrance than this, than Miami. I will admit that. When I think of the fragrance note cinnamon, I think of Christmas time, I think of sexy winter fragrances, and with cinnamon, there are also just really two fragrances that instantly come to mind. And I have a lot of cinnamon scents, but these are the two that are by far and away my personal favorites and the ones I recommend. The first is Stronger With You Intensely, but if you have the budget for it, Parfums de Marly Eau Jaune is another fantastic cinnamon option. Strong With You Intensely has been my all-time favorite designer scent for around 2.5 years now. It was the 4th ever fragrance I bought, and the fact that I still haven't got bored of it 400 fragrances later and 2.5 years of fragrance experience later is just really like a testament to how insanely addictive and just amazing this fragrance is. Some of the notes, you obviously get cinnamon. That's the main one I pick up on. And when I show someone this fragrance who, you know, isn't into perfumes, they've never smelled it before, 90% of the time, they always say the word cinnamon. That's just the first thing that comes to mind when they smell this. It kind of has like a toasted cinnamon puff, like some kind of cinnamon pastry vibe, but I find it's quite light and airy. You do kind of get toffee, you get the vanilla, but it's just a very cinnamon heavy scent. You really do have to like cinnamon to enjoy this fragrance, in my opinion. Amazing performance, both the projection and longevity is fantastic. I mean, some people are claiming, you know, the new batches has been reformulated. As someone who's gone through at least 4 bottles of this, you know, the first one I got and the 4th one I got, very similar in terms of its strength. Strong as shit. Very strong. Eau Jaune is just as heavy on the cinnamon as Strong With You Intensely, but I wouldn't say they smell that similar, and I wouldn't say it's redundant to own both. Eau Jaune, although it's not a listed note, has to have some kind of booziness to it. It really does have like a dark, mysterious kind of richness to it. Strong With You Intensely, to me, smells very innocent and playful. Eau Jaune is definitely more on kind of like the bad boy side of things. I mean, as the bottle suggests, if you wear an all black outfit with Eau Jaune, I would say it's very fitting. If you wear that same outfit with Strong With You Intensely, I think it would be kind of ironic. Eau Jaune is my preferred choice of the 2 scents, but again, they're in completely different price brackets. It's honestly about which one you can afford. But if you are a cinnamon lover, just like I am, either of these would be right up your alley, honestly. And both, for their prices and what they're trying to achieve, are straight 10 out of 10s. Vanilla is the most popular and most likable note and smell in the entire world. In fact, it's been scientifically proven. For me, vanilla, it's probably my favorite note of all time, just because I think every single one of my top 5 fragrances has vanilla in it. So if you're like me and you love vanilla and it's your all-time favorite note, you got to hit the subscribe button. I'm sorry. Not sorry. I don't make the rules. If you like vanilla, it's your favorite, like and subscribe. But with that being said, when I think of vanilla, the fragrance that always comes to mind is Mind Games Queening, which used to be my all-time favorite scent. And although it's not anymore, just due to how weak it is on my skin, it is the purest form of vanilla I've smelled in a fragrance. It is so delicious. It is so addictive. It has other notes like rum and coconut, but to be honest, it's really just a light, fluffy vanilla scent at its core. That is what it is. As it dries down, you do get some nice powdery iris, and iris is another beautiful note that I will be actually talking about later in this video. Unfortunately, as you can see, my bottle is toasted. Does it still spray? It does, so I can still enjoy the scent. Yeah, definitely leans a little bit feminine in my opinion, but when you're getting such a pure vanilla fragrance, I would argue that there's no way for it not to smell slightly feminine, but me personally, I don't care. If it smells good, it smells good, and if it smells good, it's probably going to get you compliments. Trust me, people out in public don't smell someone and just think, oh, is that a masculine or feminine smell? Their brain instantly goes, does that smell good? Yes or no. Do I like the smell? Maybe I'll say something. If I don't like the smell, I won't say something. It's really that simple. And yeah, 90% of people are going to say they like this. So I got distracted. Just so addictive. Oh man, if the performance was better, this would be a 10 out of 10. But because the performance is so lacking on me, it's only going to be around a 9 out of 10. When it comes to just elite and absolutely killer vanilla fragrances, I do have to give a shout out to Nishani Ani, which is still a pretty pure vanilla fragrance, but they've added some spiciness. They've kind of added a slight Creed Aventus citrusness to it that makes it go more masculine. So if you really are, you know, wanting a masculine vanilla, Nishani Ani would be the best choice over something like Queening, and the performance is also much better. So actually, if I could choose one for life, Ani or Queening, I will take Ani. But if you want to experience vanilla in its purest form, Mind Games cleaning is truly next level. Iris is a note in perfumery that to me, whenever I smell it in fragrances, just screams classiness. It's one of the most elegant and sophisticated scents. So the fragrances that are iris heavy, I find quite hard to wear, but when I want an iris based fragrance, Prada L'Homme EDT is generally the one that I'll reach for. In case you don't know what iris smells like, I recommend smelling either this fragrance or Dior Homme Intense. You'll notice that it's a very powdery, almost earthy smell. And if you've ever smelled lipstick before, I've heard that it has a lot of similarities to kind of like a lipsticky smell. Personally, I don't know what lipstick smells like, but enough people have told me that iris smells like lipstick, where I believe it. It's probably true. Iris is a quite, it's quite a unique smell. Some people don't like the smell of iris. I personally love it. If you want to get into iris, Prada L'Homme EDT is amazing because it's fresh and clean, which kind of contrasts the iris smell. Most iris fragrances you'll find are very rich and deep. Dior Homme Intense, Givenchy Reserve Privé, even Prada L'Homme Intense. They're very similar in the sense that they are more wintry resonance. This one is more light, fresh, and clean. It kind of smells like freshly washed linen sheets. Yeah, that's actually pretty much what it smells like, or even like a fancy bubble bath. It gives off that kind of vibe. Solid performance for a freshie, one of the best designer fragrances ever. The reason you don't see a lot of people talking about it online, if you're on that side of, fragrance TikTok or, on Instagram, is because it's not cool or a trendy fragrance. It's not the most mind-blowing thing in the world, but I do think it's really solid. And just because it doesn't pull creators' views talking about it, doesn't mean you should neglect it. Leather is a note that some people will just automatically say that they hate, but usually that is because they have smelt the wrong types of leather in fragrances. I was the same way. When I first got into perfumes, I thought leather could only smell one way: harsh, overly in your face and obnoxious, and smell like a car seat, like Tom Ford's ombre leather. But no, you can find some amazing leather fragrances out there that have a more powdery, suede, kind of clean leather vibe. And one that I've found that I absolutely love is Sugar Leather by a brand I can never pronounce. Yun Nui Nomad. I'll get my editor to put the spelling of that up because I always butcher the pronunciation. Sugar Leather has a lot of similarities to a fragrance that I talk about all the time, and I've actually already talked about it in this video, and that is Parfums de Marly Eau Jaune. It has the cinnamon like Eau Jaune has. It also has a caramel note. It's very gourmand and very unisex, all just like Eau Jaune. However, where it differs is the dry down turns into a really nice leather fragrance, and it's one of the only leathers that I really enjoy in fragrances that I've tried. If you're like me, maybe you think you don't like leather. Try a sample of this, and I'm quite confident you might love it, especially if you have a similar taste to me when it comes to fragrances, like, sweet, vanillic type of scents. I'm putting you on. Another fragrance with quite a dominant leather note, but it kind of goes in the opposite way of Sugar Leather. It takes like the Batman approach to leather, let's just say. It goes dark and dirty. There's Bulgari's Man in Black. Not my type of scent at all, but I also have it in my collection because I really appreciate it, and I think it's something I might grow into. It has rum, tobacco, slightly animalic, it's very masculine. This is the Batman fragrance. Some people will say Parfums de Marly Carlisle reminds me of Batman. Fuck that. Man in Black smells like you're a man dressed in all black. It's in the name. Bergamot is the most used note in perfumery. It's basically a cross between a lemon and a bitter orange. It's not really edible. That's why, unless you're into perfumes, you've probably never heard of bergamot. But the oil from a bergamot fruit smells amazing. And it's very versatile. You'll see some fragrances with bergamot that smell fresh and clean. But even dark and deep ambery fragrances often have bergamot as a top note. It is just a one-of-a-kind fragrance note. History lesson is over, and look, it's kind of hard to just choose a fragrance with bergamot that's the best, because bergamot, like I said, is in so many types of fragrances. But when I think of bergamot, I do generally think of a fresh and clean style of scent. And one of my favorite fresh and clean fragrances that also happens to have bergamot is YSLY EDP. Such a banger, man. Oh man, it also has green apple too, which gives it just a little bit of sweetness. But this is kind of like the definition of just your sexy, masculine blue scent that you can wear whenever you want, at the gym, at the bar. It's just that guy. It's a player that can do anything on the field, any position. YSLY can cover it. Another fantastic, more fresh and clean summery scent that has bergamot as a main note is Chanel Allure Homme Edition Blanche. And this is kind of a funny story, But to show you how good this fragrance is, my thought process when I buy a new cologne is, do I like it? Yes or no? Will you guys enjoy seeing content on it? Yes or no? And can I sell fragrance decants of this for my sample store? If it ticks those 3 boxes, I'll usually end up buying it. But this fragrance doesn't tick the last box because Chanel has been known to sue people selling decants of their fragrances. So this I can't sell samples of, but it ticked the first 2 boxes well enough where I still spent the 200 Australian dollars anyway and bought it. Of course, because it's that guy, it's that good. This is a really nice sweet lemon scent. Obviously it has the bergamot, it's extremely fresh, but it's just creamy and addictive. It's a very unique summer fragrance, one of my favorites in my collection, and for such a fresh scent, it performs well. It's not mind-blowingly strong, but it's got moderate projection and 6 to 7 hours of longevity. It's a 10 out of 10 for the summertime. Before I move on to the next fragrance note, just a little heads up that in September, I'm actually going to Paris to do a perfumery course, which will take about a week. It's like an intensive 9 to 5 perfume course with Givaudan, which is like one of the biggest oil distributors in the entire world. If you guys want content, maybe like a vlog style of what I'm learning, you know, maybe me even trying to make fragrances at the course, let me know and I'll do my best making some fire content whilst I'm learning more about perfumes. The next note is the most trending note in the entire world right now. Personally, I have no issues with that. The note I'm talking about is mango, which are probably the best fruit in the entire world. And when something tastes that good, you just can't help but wanting to smell like that too. So I got a bunch of good mango scents to show you. The first and probably the most obvious one, because it has been talked about so much, is Stefan Humber Lucas's God of Fire. Does it deserve the hype? Yes. Has it been duped to death? Also yes. So if you are on a budget, check out Mango Ice by Golf Orchid. Check out Jeremy Inferno. Check out Opulent Dubai by Lattafa. There are some amazing dupes of this fragrance. But the OG God of Fire, if you can afford it, if you want the niche bottle, you just want the real thing, go for it. I doubt you would regret it. It's fantastic. It also is more than just a mango scent. It has some gaiac wood, which is just another word for oud. It has vetiver, which is like a nice earthy greenness. It has some richness. It has some depth to it. It's not just a mango bomb, but you do definitely have to enjoy mango to enjoy this fragrance. The best mango fragrance in the entire world though is Agnello by Pernoir. This is from a Switzerland, really niche fragrance brand, but it is picking up some traction. And you know, every content creator that, you know, is a fragrance influencer that I've shown this to has all agreed that it smells higher quality and more unique than God of Fire. I've shown this to about 4 to 5 creators, and the reason for that is it also has pineapple. It's more masculine than God of Fire. It's very heavy on the vetiver, which adds a really nice green richness. God of Fire also has vetiver, I believe, but the way it smells in this is incredible. I love this scent. And it's a beast. It's a freaking beast bud. I think I got 14 hours of longevity the first time I wore it. And the projection, it's like a 3 maximum 4 spray type of fragrance. I don't know what the perfume concentration is, but at least 30%. Like, this is an extrait for sure. Very, very strong fragrance. It is also very expensive though. I think it's like 280 euro just for the 50 ml. So even more expensive than God of Fire. But again, I wouldn't be talking about it if I didn't think it was worth that price tag. A lot of you guys watching are probably under the impression that I absolutely despise oud as a note, that I hate oud fragrances, that I want nothing to do with it. And you are kind of right. Oud by itself, to me, smells horrid, especially when it's in a really animalic and kind of stinky way. But that doesn't mean there aren't exceptions to that rule that I have. My favorite oud fragrance right now is Les Sables Roses by Louis Vuitton. And interestingly, I hate Ombre Nomad by Louis Vuitton, but this one is far more rose dominant. And I adore rose, and it still has oud as kind of like a backbone rather than like the forefront of the fragrance. And oud, when it's like a 3rd or 4th main note, can smell amazing in fragrances, and I think they've done it perfectly here. I wish Ombre Nomad didn't exist. I think if more people knew about this, the world would be a better place. But unfortunately, that's just not the world we live in. This is 3 types of rose. It smells like rose water spray. Like, to go to sleep when I was younger, I used to have to spray like a rose water mist on my pillows. This really does remind me of that. It's a little bit creamy as well. It's amazing. It's actually like pretty heavy on the oud still, but I can definitely tolerate it. Even more than tolerate it, I really enjoy it. It's a really good fragrance. Oud Satin Mood by MFK actually used to be my all-time favorite fragrance. And this kind of has a similar vibe to Les Sables Roses, but it kind of has a fruitiness, definitely more sweet and a little bit more feminine. I wouldn't say I'm growing out of this scent, it's just not my favorite anymore. If you eat Turkish Delight, you like the smell of Turkish Delight, this truly does remind me of a Turkish Delight treat, and that used to be my favorite dessert when I was a kid, so I think that's the reason I do really like this fragrance. I prefer Le Sable's Roses, but this is another really solid oud scent that I do enjoy. As a general rule, if someone wants to show me a fragrance and before I smell it they tell me it has oud in it, I'm gonna assume that it smells terrible. So smash the like button and subscribe if you also generally hate oud, because usually it smells like a stinky fart, an expensive fart in fragrances. When it comes to the note of peach, I have 2 recommendations and 2 that I really enjoy. But one recommendation is something that I never wear, but is amazing to have just for fun. And the other is a genuine fragrance that I wear a lot. The genuine one that I actually wear is Pacific Chill. And this has a lot more going... Oh, it's almost $1,000 I just dropped. This has a lot more going for it than just peach. It's got the apricot, it's got bergamot probably, because every fragrance has bergamot. It's fresh, it's sweet, it's fruity. It smells like a minty mojito inside of a perfume bottle. I mean, I would wear this on holidays. I wore this for 5 days straight in Dubai at the peak in summer. It's very versatile, it's amazing. It gets me a lot of compliments. One of the most complimented fragrances in my entire collection. The other peach fragrance though is lesser known, but my god, is it just fun to wear every now and then. Peach's Revenge by Sarah Baker. Definitely feminine, definitely a little bit zesty, but it's a pretty cool scent because it just smells like peach gummy rings. You know those like sour peach rings, very popular candy? This is the definition of that smell extracted into a perfume. After getting Peach's Revenge, I ended up blind buying this one called Pastel Rumors because I'd heard it's just a slightly toned down peachy version, but unfortunately it smells near identical. It's just slightly more milky. It kind of smells like Fruit Loops if Fruit Loops were peachy, but then you still have like the milk around the Fruit Loops. This one's slightly more masculine, but they're both unisex, probably leaning feminine. If you like peach, if you want a peach gummy ring type of smell, check out these 2, because they're pretty freaking funny. Such a slept on and underrated fragrance note is watermelon. We need to tell the world to start, no, not the world, we need to start telling perfumers to freaking get their shit together and start cooking up some more watermelon fragrances, because tell me why it's taken 400 bottles for me to find a nice watermelon scent. 1015 Wave Child. Getting quite a lot of hype. I'm glad, as it should be, because this smells damn freaking good, man. It's watermelon heavy, it's aquatic. The dry down, the watermelon kind of tones down a bit, becomes more creamy and vanilla-y. It's delicious. It smells like a watermelon Jolly Rancher gummy bear. It's so fun, but it's also quite wearable. I literally wore it this morning actually to go boxing. So while I was like boxing, my instructor was probably getting whiffs of watermelon candy. What a lucky guy. Another great watermelon scent that I have somewhere, it's not on my shelf right now, but it's Mind Games Counterplay. It's very fun. It smells amazing. The performance in Counterplay though is even worse than it is in Wave Child. And in Wave Child, you know, it's not great. 5 to 6 hours longevity, soft to moderate projection. Counterplay is like 4 hours longevity. So I wouldn't, yeah, this one. If you like watermelon gummy bears. And I know there's gonna be one party pooper in the comments typing right now being like, who would want to smell like watermelon gummy bears, bro? Fuck you. I want to, okay? A note that I hate even more than oud is cherry. Because cherry in real life tastes amazing. But when it comes to smelling like cherry, it almost always leaves you smelling like a synthetic cherry medicine mess. The biggest example I have of this is Mancera Cherry Cherry, which is one of the worst fragrances I have ever smelled. But there does happen to be 2 cherry heavy fragrances in my collection that I can actually recommend and that I actually even wear on the occasion. The first was my 3rd ever fragrance, and that is Guerlain L'Homme Ideal Eau de Parfum. That is an absolute mouthful. The bottle does not look like this anymore. These are what the old discontinued version looks like. The juice is also a lot lighter in the newer batches, and the newer batches are a little bit weaker, but this is a beautiful and mature cherry, leather, and nutty scent. Perfect for special occasions, very sophisticated, actually a really unique smell for a designer fragrance. Guerlain is just freaking awesome. I really need to get more Guerlain fragrances, honestly. The other cherry fragrance that isn't as good as the Guerlain, but I can at least tolerate it, is Mind Games French Defense. This is a very dark and boozy cherry. It's an ultra masculine fragrance with really strong performance. It still does come across just a bit too medicinal for me. I like the Guerlain one because the cherry is there, but it's kind of more well blended. It's not like the star of the show. In French defense, it's all cherry. And yes, it does smell like a higher quality cherry than 99% of other cherry fragrances, but it's still just not quite for me. That is going to end this video on 12 fragrance notes and the best 12 fragrances for each note. I hope you loved it. Let me know if you have any video ideas that you want me to cover down below in the comments, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed. I always forget to say that. Peace.